I look at him like I say Jesus.
And the next question is.
Love you.
He could care less. He was not thinking about Biggie.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friend. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
This is a special birthday for both of us.
So, today, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this Diddy documentary tell-all that 50 gave us. 50 and whomever. I thought this was amazing, you know. Every person that they named, I thought I knew the whole story. I realized there were a lot of things that I didn't know. I give it a 10 out of 10. They showed us a monster, layer by layer, step by step, childhood to now. And besides leaving out a couple of other terrible crimes that he's committed, I thought they pretty much told a great deal about what he has done. And I am here today, guys, to break it down to you, my take on this Diddy doc. All right, so sit back. I'm going to pull this up right here. I want you to listen to this, and I'll be back, you know, like I always do with my commentary. But I want you to check this out. And I'll be sure to shout out the person that I am reviewing. So stay tuned for that and go subscribe to them as well. All right, so let's get in here. Check this out. And right here, guys, he looks so cringe. He looks psycho. He actually looks like a complete psycho. Allegedly. But my observation, my opinion is he looks crazy. Sorry. I'm not sorry. Let's continue.
Of Diddy forever. Everybody he touched, he destroyed.
Dangling that carrot. You know you can't.
Shocking. Diddy. Manipulative, but he's dangerous.
I mean, this man is a monster. I loved how they started it out with 6 days before he is, going to go to jail, basically. He's basically filming himself. So he handed them on a silver platter this amazing content that we needed. He thought he was going to use it for himself to be vindicated and to, I guess sell the documentary to, Netflix or whatever company and make millions off of it, showing how he fought and won against a system that was trying to oppress him or whatever narrative he was going to spin. However, that all backfired, went wrong. Evidently, they never got paid or something like that. And now it's an update that the real company is saying that they allowed someone to come in for 3 days and they shot some footage and they are the ones that sold it. Whatever. Blase. But what is so epic is that we got to get this footage. And this footage is what threaded everything together. It showed him in his own words. We got to see his own demeanor. We got to look at the monster, like close up, personal, in his own room, seeming even more deranged than I ever thought he was. I mean, it was amazing footage and showing that even now today, he is still that monster. I knew Diddy was a monster. I'm not going to lie. But to witness it in real time and hear these terrible, terrible stories. Let me just take a look at this and I'll be right back because it's just so much to unpack. He's at a 30-year span at torturing people, male and female, and he seems to get pleasure out of it so immensely. Okay, let's check this out.
Tran, the mother of his youngest child, and says he's about to deposit $200 million. So basically he's moving funds, right? He knows that the feds are coming, and he was kind of bragging about it. You know, the banks are going to stay open for me, but that, you know, there were points here where he didn't, in his career life, whatever, when he was with Bad Boy Records or producing music and whatnot, where he owed people money or they needed $5,000, he couldn't even pay them, right? Because everything was spent, everything was hidden. It was a house of cards. It was, you know, a shell game financially. But when he's talking about moving $200 million, that's got to be another piece of information that might be brought up again when he gets out of prison.
Right. The bank stayed open for him. So we're going to find probably all this out only because of this documentary.
So guys, do you hear this? He may be having more charges brought up on him when he gets out because of what he said in his own, own documentary. You can't make this up. You can't make this shit up. This is crazy. 200 mil. This guy is crazy. Allegedly. All right, let's go.
And I think that when Biggie had died, that his goal was for him to be the actual star. And I think after a few days after Biggie died, he did the song with Sting. I could feel zero sympathy.
Now I had to stop right there. Oh my gosh. Now that was one of the parts of this particular documentary where he pulled the cover so that Biggie would not be on, was it Vogue, I believe? He said, no, don't put Big up there. They were going to give him the cover since he passed. He said, no, I'm going to do a record. So tell them to save their album cover for me because I want to be up there. So then he gets the cover of the magazine. He says, bump Biggie. He charges the funeral to Biggie's estate after he said he was going to pay for it. Then he puts on the biggest performance of his life. Like he's dedicating it to his best friend. And all his, oh my gosh, that was so cringe. He was just, back then, it was like, oh, wow, that's really nice. But you're still probably trying to figure out what in the how can you perform when you just lost your best friend and artist, biggest artist in the world. One of the, well, come to find out, he could care less. He was not thinking about Biggie. It was all about him. And so this guy is absolutely right. And I just realized, well, not just realized, but I realized that's Kato Kaelin from the O.J. Simpson trial. That's crazy, right? But everything comes full circle. But back to this being his moment to shine. He didn't see this as a moment of pain, a time of mourning, a time of grief, sadness. He saw this as an opportunity to become in Biggie's spot. He didn't want to just be the producer behind the scenes. He wanted to be that and the actual star. And can't rap a lick. I mean, like, tell me, Uncut Nation, sound off, tell me, was that not one of the parts where you're like, what the freak is going on with Diddy? Why is he so diabolical? Why is he so psychotic? Why is he so obsessed with being like the center of attention at all times? I'll tell you one thing. If you never knew what the definition of narc is, this has got to be the picture, the poster child for it. Let's get back in here.
He was trying to make it like a dedication to Biggie, and we know how that worked when he had Biggie actually pay for his own funeral.
And anyway, and then what I also liked is that they brought us through like glimpses of his childhood, and they let us know, for one, that Diddy used to get picked on, bullied, and his mom made him fight back, and he would fight back no matter what it took, whether it took a biting of the ear, neck, a weapon, or anything. He would win by any means necessary. And we also learned that his mom would beat him to smithereens, according to friends, childhood friends. His mama didn't give him the normal whipping that you would see from a traditional black household that gave spankings. She gave him one for the books, one that they had never seen in New York. So like, Diddy got his behind tore up by his mom. But let's get into this. They're going to kind of delve into a little bit of that and the fact of his father. That his father, you got to think of who he comes from. His father is also known as a snitch, allegedly. He snitched on someone in the drug kingpin. He was kind of I would say maybe a not big time dealer, but a dealer nonetheless, that were tied to some really powerful dealers. All right, so check this out.
This is a legend, and what he did to him is just like, it's unspeakable. Janice Combs, right? So Diddy's dad was apparently murdered in, he's kind of a low-level thug in New York City, and was murdered in Central Park. So his mom raised him all by herself, right? And she was attractive. She had some charisma. She would host big parties. But there was a scene where they talked about the next door neighbor, who was his best friend, that she used to really physically abuse him. Right. And I'm sure he was always looking for his mother's, affection, for her to, because he didn't have a dad. So she was everything to him. But she was pretty nasty, pretty physically abusive. And you never get that, because he kind of has this persona that he has this super close relationship with his mom during the trial and the whole thing. But wow, that one threw me when I heard that. I wasn't expecting that.
And that part right there also threw me. That was something that I never seen coming, because I've heard, like rumors of him putting hands on his mom, like slapping her. But I never have heard about, him being abused as well as a child by his mom, but potentially abused as a child. Like really beat his butt like that. And to see them two like hugged up, kissing all the time, so lovey-dovey, and behind the scenes, she could have, been a little too friendly with the hands on her son when he was little, and when Diddy was little, and for him to also be potentially or possibly putting hands on her behind the scenes, like describes like a hidden side to their dynamic, because when they're in front of the cameras, of course people put on in front of the cameras, but they really show a display of this joined at the hip mother and son relationship. Like they are two peas in the pod, two hands on the same body, almost. Like they're just that close. So to hear this was a little that was enlightening, and it really goes in to show you what created this, possibly what helped to create this crazy person. That, because let's just say people don't normally become monsters. A lot of times they are created. And did you see the pictures when he was a baby and a little boy, and he would have on chinchillas and hats like fedoras and dressed in suits, and it's like she wanted to make him into a man. Now, it's okay for you, a little boy, to dress like a little man here and there, but overall, I think a normal mom wants their child to be a little boy or a little girl, not an adult. And I see a lot of things, a lot of times today where people are dressing their kids up as adults versus allow them to be kids. And I think sometimes pay attention, because that could be hurting them and not helping them. Let them be kids while they are. Because once an adult, you're always an adult, you know? All right, let's get back in here.
And I think his mother was all for it. And I just think it's the way you're raised. And I'm sure he saw things at the mom's party with other men there. He had no father figure, maybe many men, and he didn't know how to interpret this as a kid. And, getting beat up also doesn't help.
Yeah, and this wasn't like a spanking. These were brutal beatings by the mother. I mean, she was nasty. She was violent, and I'm sure that plays a role. I'll let some psychologist or doctor handle this from here because I'm more concerned about what he's actually done. This happened in 1991, I think, where at City College in New York City, Diddy put on that thing with Heavy D. It was a celebrity basketball game, and Diddy over promoted it. Okay, he knew it only seated X amount of people, over promoted it like crazy. They stormed and 9 people died in a stampede. 9 people died from a Diddy event. There's death and carnage going back over 30 years with him.
Right.
Now, if you know about the Illuminati type information that's out here, you know that could have been a sacrifice, according to some. That's been speculated by, the people that are occult. And a lot of occultism, no matter what you say, it plays heavily in the industry of music and film. So I don't know if it was like an accident or perhaps a sacrifice. But either way, let's just go with the non-conspiracy theory, which is accidentally he made a mistake and overbooked it. The thing with that is, if you look at the footage that they showed, he had not one, well, from what I could see, from my perception, he had not 1 ounce of remorse. The only thing he seemed to be worried about was his career. Like, will this stop him from moving up? And once he realized that couldn't even stop him, being responsible, partially responsible, fully responsible, whichever type of responsibility, all he did was realize he can get away with anything as long as he had clout and money. And from there, they said his fame came from that incident. No one knew who Diddy was at the time. Would have been what, Puff Daddy? No one knew who Puff Daddy was, or Puff was, until this happened. So tragedy brought him fame. The taking of 9 helped his career. The deletion of 9 people, and I believe, if I'm not sure, I got to make sure I'm correct, but I'll fact check this. But I believe it was either Father MC's mother of his child or Heavy D, somebody was also deleted in that. Like, there's a lot of things surrounding Diddy that just never makes him look good. It always makes him look suspicious of having something to do with why they're no longer here. And all these flus and pneumonia. Think about Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx came out and said he tried to murk me. That's what Jamie Foxx said. Al B. Sure came out and said they did the same thing to him. Let's get back in here.
And he wanted to get rid of the bad boy name, so it had no involvement with this.
Exactly.
So,
right.
I mean, Tom, that's part of his mind, how it worked, how he made sure that he never got in trouble.
Yeah, victims couldn't be civil lawsuits. They couldn't come after him, right? And even the way he distributed the equity in his company to make sure that he was untouchable, even though he controlled all the money, right? And everything went through him. And yeah, so, I mean, that was horrific. That was a big story back then. I'm sure a lot of our viewers remember that. Throw it in the comments if you remember that. There was, 9 people being killed at a concert. I mean, Travis Scott had, I forgot how many people died at that Astroworld thing in Houston, but 9 people dying. I mean, that sounds like a European soccer disaster, right? Also, the way Bad Boy was structured corporately, right? How the equity is distributed, it made no sense, right? For a company that was generating that type of revenue, eventually, It made no sense. There was no structure. It was very fly by the seat of the pants. But it didn't matter because it was like a fiefdom, right? He was the king, and it was all going to roll through him like a socialist, situation. Biggie is murdered out here in LA shortly after Tupac was killed in Las Vegas. And the things that came out of that, it just made me sick to my stomach. Essentially, Biggie was supposed to go to London. Okay, now this is after Tupac dies, and they knew not to go to LA. Okay, because this was turning, the Bloods and Crips were involved. The Death Row Records wasn't playing around out here, and they were by far and away the biggest with Suge Knight and Tupac and Dr. Dre and
Snoop Dogg.
And Snoop, of course. I mean, they dominated. They were printing money. They were just cultural heroes. So Biggie didn't want to come out here. Diddy made him. He forced him. He set him up. He set him up for this murder.
Now, this is the part that I have heard, but this is the part that really got me. Like, I knew, and I think everybody knew, that it was that Pac's Red Rum was definitely related to Diddy and Biggie. Or we thought maybe Diddy and Biggie. But later you thought maybe definitely Diddy. You knew he probably had something to do with Pac. But to hear that he has something to do with Big straight from his own close sources is freaking beyond evil. Beyond evil. You hear Biggie on the tape saying, I'm so scared. I'm scared I'm about to... Like, this man was terrified. He knew that people wanted him gone. And he couldn't sleep at night. He was just that afraid. A grown man, a big man like Biggie, afraid. Dagner crying on screen, on camera, saying, I am terrified. And Diddy says, you're going anyway. Because he had to send them out there for that to happen to him. To know that. Why did he have to go? Why would you send anyone that you care about into a place that you know is dangerous? And on top of that, force them to go. That's what, the only reason you would do it is if you wanted them gone. And I tell you like that, there is a special place in hell, I believe, for Diddy. There's a special place that is totally reserved for Diddy. He has his own place with his name on it. Because that type of evil, I just can't even, imagine being around that energy. Do you know how low that has to be? Could you imagine? Ugh, my goodness, this man is evil. This man is sick, twisted, evil. You know you're sending him to, and you're telling him no. You don't even change your mind. You could have backed out at any minute, and you still decide to pull that trigger. Diddy. Wow. Let's get back in here, guys.
Because Biggie had this premonition. He knew not to go on the turf. And I never knew that Biggie and Tupac were friends, and Diddy became jealous of this, that they were actual friends. That Biggie's got to be thinking of his mind, who is this Diddy character? And, I imagine Diddy was thinking, Biggie had bad thoughts at some point, convincing him to come to LA, knowing that there's going to be something. And Diddy wanted to show that nothing would bother him. He's going to go on their dirt. He didn't care. I'm going to go on their land. And he had the Crips to back him up. And obviously we know what happened, but it's a shame.
So when Biggie came out to LA, it was for the music awards that were going out here at the time. There's a season for that essentially in March in the spring, right? So they all come out here, the hip hop awards, etc. Diddy and his crew rented cars in New York and drove out here. Okay. That to me, I mean, come on. that's to not have any involvement or any trail out here by, either having private drivers or having cars from LAX that you pick up or whatever from a luxury rental dealership. But can you believe that they rented cars in New York? That makes no sense. It adds to the theory that he set him up to be murdered out here.
I've got a feeling that everything's going to go up another notch with the reinvestigation of everything.
So, guys, what do you think? What do you think about that? That is very likely true. What if 50 is so freaking genius that this will allow him, like, once he is able to get out on this particular charge, he'll be right back in court again fighting indictments on Biggie, Pac, Kim. There's no telling. Shakir Stewart, Andre Harrell, Black Rob. I mean, we don't know. But right now, there's so much up in the air, and especially this Biggie thing. Because, I mean, we already kind of got him for the Tupac thing via Keefe D, just missing the payment. Supposedly, no one got paid, and no one in the whole gang did anything to Diddy for 30 years, like, because Zip took it. I mean, okay, whatever. I'm done with that. But this Biggie thing, this could be the one. This could be the one that takes him down. The 200 mil. There's just so much that this documentary opened up. It opened up Pandora's box. Actually. Okay, let's get back in here. It's so good, guys. It's so good. Uncut Nation. I love this film. I feel like Diddy needs to be dealt with. He needs to, for one time, pay for what he's done to so many people. Did you see the faces on all the people when they showed how everyone looked? Did you realize, and if you don't, go back and look at it. Right at the end, I think, they show everyone, every person involved. And they all had the exact same look of defeat, hurt, betrayal, sadness, and a brokenness that only Diddy must be can provide. Because everyone had the same identical look on their face. Whoa, this guy is sick. Let's go.
Biggie's mom, Sean Combs' mom, knows something is up that's never been told, and she's just devastated by that. But maybe I'll call Connolly, and maybe we get that cop on here. I think it would make sense, right? Because he knows stuff
that detective was fascinating. If the research he's done, and it kind of just went cold. But
the music and that industry is just the backdrop. That's all it is. I mean, you don't have to be an NFL fan to be enraptured by the O.J. Simpson saga.
No, you're right. You're right. But you know what? If you really look at it, the rap and all that, it really is a violent culture, and so it really talks about things where, I mean, everything is gun related. Everything is shooting, and the documentary had lines of I'm going to shoot you, and I can't go over, I don't remember all the lines, but everything was sort of a threat.
Talking about Hit 'Em Up, right? That's the diss track that Tupac and his crew put together, when things started, because Tupac was shot outside that studio in New York City. It was clearly a hit. He had a $60,000 Rolex that they didn't take. And of course, who's behind the curtain of that one? Shocking.
And Kato has no clue about black anything. Sounds like. I'm not sure how he got to be friends with, I think he was friends with Nicole, not OJ, but you need to go to like a black education 101 to understand. And I'm just going to leave that alone. But Hit 'Em Up, by far, is the best diss track ever made. Period. And don't at me. It's my opinion. Uncut Nation, am I right? Do you agree with me? Or if you disagree, put in your own song. Let me know what it is that you think is better, a better diss song. I know you're probably going to say Ether, but it did not have the fire that Hit 'Em Up does. And I'm going to say I'm gonna stay on that. I'm gonna stick on that. I'm gonna stand on that, and I'm saying it with my chest, Uncut Nation. Now, also, I want to touch on the Hit 'Em Up song and kind of saying that that plays the part here. Maybe Hit 'Em Up ruffled Puffy's evil feathers, but to take his life and put, what was it, $1 million on his head? Disgusting. And then you want to sleep with every woman. Do you know he has a baby by Tupac's ex? And he's also slept with every single woman. Maybe even Kadada, I'm not sure. But so I'm going to say allegedly on Kadada. I'm not sure about Kadada. But the rest of those girls, every last one of them. Pretty much. Every last one of them. He goes after, and you'll see that in the film. He had an obsession with Albie Shore, so he went after Kim. He had an obsession with, what his name is? Oh my gosh. Green Eyes. Eric Sermon. He had an obsession with Eric Sermon, so he went after Misa. He probably had an obsession with Cassie's boyfriend. I can't think of his name right now, but you know what I'm talking about. And he went after Cassie. Like he's so like disgustingly bi and homo that he falls in love with the man and then wants to take his woman. Like he is a sick, psychotic son of a bee. Let's get back in here. Guys, I'm getting so mad with this documentary showing me how evil this evil Diddy is. He is disgusting and evil. And does freak offs with his son, allegedly.
And you're also thinking about it. He could just destroy your career. I mean, if he doesn't kill you, if he, he's not going to pay you. He's not, you have to deal with all that. But he could actually like blacklist your career because he had that type of power back then, right? He could make a couple calls to a different agency, to a record label, to a fashion, designer, and say, never hire this guy, make up stuff. So, man, what a terrible existence for Aubrey O'Day. Aubrey O'Day, beautiful singer. She was in the reality show, and there were some very disturbing revelations about her that she found out when she was passed out and drugged. And drugs are everywhere in this thing, and it was like different concoctions they use for different things. We'll get to the freak offs in just a second, but I love Aubrey O'Day. What a terrible, tragic thing that she went through. She's very outspoken now, which I really love. Man, she's a beast.
Yeah, now the Aubrey O'Day thing in the doc, it said that she doesn't remember it happening, but allegedly someone witnessed her being drugged out and being taken advantage of by Puffy and a bodyguard that was a huge guy or something like that. But she doesn't recall it, doesn't remember it happening, so maybe it did or didn't happen. But that was very sad too, because most likely it probably did, and she probably was drugged out of her mind that she can't even remember it happening. And maybe that's a blessing for her that she doesn't remember, because I'm pretty sure that if there's a tape, going around with that on there, it has to be really disgusting and something that she probably would never want to see. And I mean, I'm going to add a few more things in here, like just some other weird behavior I've witnessed from Puffy. I'm going to save that to the last bit. Diddy, whatever you want to call him. Dumb Diddy, Dum Dum, the Diddler, Freak Nasty, whatever his name is going to be next. But right now, yeah, the Diddler has been diddling, and he's been doing some really, really, really bad things. Like he violates everybody. And I want to show you this right here, because I wasn't going to show this now, but I have to, because I want to show you how he really humiliates you. After he takes advantage of you, he makes you out of a spectacle. He makes a joke out of you. And he does it in front of the world. He puts a camera in your face, like what he did to Meek Mill. I'm not saying that he did anything to Meek Mill. Wink, wink. But allegedly, he did. And this right here is just Let me know what you think. Take a look at this and then we'll go back to them. But I just got to add this in real quick.
King son. Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work. Proud of you. I love you. Yeah.
Now, didn't it look like, I'm just telling you what it looked like Puffy did a lot to him the night before, and he'd been through a lot. It looks like a whole lot. And he's in the pool trying to relax from what he's been through. And Diddy shoves a camera in his face and says, you know, you deserve it, daddy. Like, come on. Come on, come on. Please let me know you see what I see. He makes fun. He makes fun of what he does to people.
Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy.
Gets him high, allegedly. They wake up in the bed the next day hurting. And this is in the documentary. All alleged, but this is what everybody is saying. They're sore and hurting. And this is probably what happened with Meek Mill. He goes to the pool to try to get some relief. And he shoves the camera so everybody can know what happened. Remember, they had on matching outfits. They had them jumping around like bunnies. I mean, just the craziest of crazy stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's get back to this. And we're almost done here because this is just, it's making me feel so sad. You know, just to know that someone can be this evil. Because it's one thing if you're able to get these guys to want you and get these girls to want you. And you're just a playboy. But you don't, you take it. Like you said, take that. You did say that. Okay, anyway, let's get back in here.
They'd have Molly that would keep them going, ecstasy, cocaine, obviously. They mentioned like 8 versions of cocaine, different colors of it, right? I mean, it's almost like he's a chemist. And he had this perfect mix to just, you know, turn this freak off into the most insane experience that you could possibly imagine.
His producers, I think it was Little Rod, I forget his name, but he's the one that discovered that Diddy had cameras everywhere. And that's just another thing of how I think he already had blackmail in his mind.
Yeah, no, Little Rod is the guy. No, it's almost Epstein-esque, isn't it? I mean, these guys operate out of the same playbook, right?
Now, I'm glad he brought Epstein. I definitely think that's exactly the playbook that he learned to operate from. And so you do also understand that there were hidden cameras everywhere. No one knew that there were hidden cameras, but they were everywhere. A lot of them even in one room. So when these celebrities were coming over thinking that they were just chilling and having freak-offs at the house, they were all recorded. So later on, he would allegedly extort them. So he would say, you know, send me maybe 100,000. They said 100,000. I don't have that to give away. And then he'll drop them a snippet of the tape of the video to show them. And that's what how he allegedly stayed rich and got into the billionaire club from blackmailing people. So just think about it. While freak-offs is not enough, taking your butt or your goodies or your whatever else he wants to take from you that night, allowing others to do it to you as well, none of that is enough. There's still a dollar value placed on you. You know? He would even show tapes of you to other people for parties, allegedly. So you think you're just getting with Diddy and there are cameras covering you from top to bottom, and then he'll take that tape and show it at a party for fun, for shits and giggles. This man is very diabolical. So not only is he blackmailing folks, he's embarrassing folks, he's taking folks, he's graping folks, he's murking folks, he's hurting people, humiliating people. I mean, there's like, oh my goodness. Let's wrap this up. Let me get back in here. This is way darker than I've thought about it when I wanted to cover it. But this is terrible. Let's get back in here.
Rod is, you mentioned him. Yeah. And then I think you have to give a lot of credit to this guy named Clayton Howard. He's a former escort. He called himself a gigolo. And he was the one really at the epicenter at the very beginning of these freak offs. And Diddy started him with Cassie, I think, right? When he was with escalated, but you learned about the baby oil and, staying up for 18 hours or 2 or 3 days at a time. But that guy went out on a limb. If anybody, I got to believe some of these people that spoke out are going to fear for their life. For being so vocal.
And salute to you, Lil Rod. Salute to you, because had it not been for your voice, and I know Cassie was before you, I believe, but had it not been for your voice, I think your voice is the one that really spoke volumes. And Cassie's tape, no, although it was very sad and I'm sure painful for her to watch, that brought a lot of light to Diddy. So thank you to you two both. And I think the man above, because there's no telling what he would have done next. I don't know what could be worse than what he's already done, but at least it can stop. That's one less evil person that can hurt anybody, hopefully, anymore, So, Raj, shout out to you for having the voice to admit what happened. That takes a lot of bravery. Just want to say that. Okay, we're almost done, about 5 more minutes, guys. And I want you to sound off and let me know what you think. Is this tragic and terrible or not? Does this change the way you'll look at Diddy forever? Does this erase his hits? Like R. Kelly had more hits than anybody I know. Probably first or secondary to Diddy. And R. Kelly music gets played less, I guess, from the world. I still play it, but some people will refuse to hear it. But good thing he doesn't sing or do anything really. So he has so many wonderful artists that you can still support them. This is just sad. And we still got our Queen Mary J. Blige and our love, Faith, 112. So many. Total, I love Total. Shout out to Total. Love Total. I really do. It's just a tragedy what he's done. It really, really is. Of course we love Big, Craig Mack, Flavor in Your Ear. He kicked it off. And his wife said he only gave him $100 and he had probably thousands in his pocket. Just evil. Let's get back in here.
Amazing that Diddy would have Cassie and, whatever threesomes, or just have him pleasure her. It kind of, I got a little sick, a little queasy from that, knowing that this is demented mind. And they all were part of it. They were,
And yes, guys, Uncut Nation, that part right there is just super weird. What man wants you to even look at another man, let alone wants you to sleep with him? Let alone, on top of that, wants you to sleep with them in front of you. And you could do anything in front of him. And you could do anything you want for hours, for days. They would go at it for days, 18, 24, 36 hours just, and he would sit there and just watch for a long period of time before he ever joined in, like a year or so. Think about the mindset of a man that wants to watch another man sleep around with the girl that is supposed to be his girl, his woman. I mean, even if you say she maybe wasn't his woman in his mind, he still got mad if she slept with Kid Cudi, allegedly. He got mad if she went outside of it. But as long as he could watch, he didn't care who it was. Male prostitutes. This guy is twisted beyond anything. It's like a movie. It doesn't even seem real. It's like 2 or 3 movies in one. Let's get back here. Oh my goodness.
God, he's just a scumbag, man, on every single level.
Tom, if you look at when you see him going through those phases, you knew what kind of person he was going to be, and what he was is that he always picked his best buddy's girl. He always had to steal. He always had to get the other person's, and you start thinking, why? Is it an ego thing, or is it a thing to make them feel horrible and to make the girl like she's weak, she's going to sleep with me?
And didn't I say this earlier? Why does he always want his friend woman? Every woman that he has had, his friend or someone that he admired, then later came to hate, had first. As soon as he see you with the girl, he meets a guy, he admires the guy, and then he has to take his girl. That is just crazy. This man is diabolical. Is it's almost a compliment for this man, to be honest, because he's worse than that. That's a compliment for him. I can't even think of a word that would fit him. I really can't. I need to find one, but I don't have a word for this. This is crazy. All right, we're pretty much done. Bear with me if I'm taking too long. This is a lot to take in, guys. This was a lot in this film, and this is a lot of disgusting behavior, and there's so much to talk about. I mean, this man is beyond any comprehension skills that you can have in your head. He is twisted. Oh, let's go.
No. Kato, he's a classic groomer, right? He groomed these people, especially the women. And when he had, he held their careers in their hands.
I look at him like, I say, Jesus.
And the next question is,
future, their safety, everything. He knew how to use it. And we mentioned Biggie Smalls and we mentioned financial. And when Biggie died, obviously, Diddy wanted to throw the biggest funeral ever in New York. He wanted to make it a huge show. And I think you mentioned this earlier. He freaking made Biggie's estate pay for it. I mean, God, it's just
Diddy had no talent. He couldn't sing. He couldn't dance. Diddy had no talent. He couldn't sing. He couldn't dance.
Sir Rock, right? And then he tries to accuse the ownership of being, racist. And you know what, Gato? They offered him. They said they were only moving 40,000 cases of that when they brought him in. And they said if you can get it to 1 million cases, it's going to be almost $1 billion deal. That's where he got all his money. That's how he got so wealthy, where he was almost a billionaire.
And if you think about it, that's the deal that has taken him down. That is the deal, guys. Uncut Nation. That's the deal that took him down. He got the $1 billion. He sold $1 million. They didn't pay him. He took him to court. And I think, like Dr. Umar says, that's why he's where he's at. Technically, it's an overall from everything he's done, but this time he screwed with the wrong people and had about 1,000 people mad with him before them. And this company right here said, okay, you want to play ball, let's play. And I'm telling you, at the end of the day, no matter how much money you have, the one lesson they're going to always teach you is that, like Kanye say, you're still a nigga. Straight up. And excuse my language on that. But That's what they're saying to black people with this as well. Now, Diddy, I don't care, to be honest. Get this filth off the streets by any means necessary. And if it's because you, you know, got taken down by this liquor deal, and you want us to feel sorry for you because they came and got you because you were finally standing on business and you finally wanted your due, and pay those people their due. You didn't get your due. They didn't pay you the way they're supposed to pay you because you never paid anybody else. You didn't care about nobody. Nobody at all. Nobody. And wait till those girls find out, allegedly, what you may have done with their mom. And Christian. Wait till they find out. Wait till they find out. Like, this is really infuriating. I'm going to try to calm down, but all this is alleged. None of this has been proven true, except for whatever he's convicted of in jail for now. But everything I'm saying is alleged. All this is speculation here, saying gossip, and based on the documentary that 50 gave us. But let's get back to it. I'm trying to tie this up, but my goodness, I may have to go to anger management after listening to this. I'm telling you, because this infuriates me.
What a downfall. No, but yeah, so I mentioned Diageo. They're the ones that, bought out Casamigos from George Clooney, Randy Gerber, and Michael Melman. So they're the biggest. They have everybody. And oh man, it kind of reminded me of when Adidas and Kim Kardashian's ex, right?
I wonder if 50 Cent has some hidden video still that has not been released. And, like you said, he's a smart businessman. I think there's still stuff that we haven't seen.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about 50 Cent as an executive producer. Is this a revenge documentary? I mean, they have had beef for 20 years. There's so many times, he's behind more than likely Tupac's murder and Biggie's. There's death around him. He and his manager, who he completely abused and manipulated, this girl Capricorn, when they basically kidnapped Kid Cudi and wanted to kill him because he went hiking with Cassie. I mean, this guy is like a mafia boss times a cartel leader and the devil. I mean, he's just a combination of all of it.
And I'm going, how does no one get charged with something, a murder of a person? And I'm blown away at that whole story. It's like, what in the world? And that's on video. They go in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to stop there, guys. But you get the gist of it. This was an epic doc, an epic tell-all on the monster that Diddy really is. So in conclusion, guys, I'm going to say, like Tupac said, and hit him up, F Bad Boy as a record label and staff. Diddy, it looks bad. It looks like you're finally going to pay for all the sins that you've done. All the bad things that you've done to people, allegedly. Every dog has their day. And it looks like your day has finally arrived. And it's about time. You had a long reign of terror. And it seems like it's about to finally come to an end. Shout out to 50 for delivering an eye-opening, wonderful doc that showed us what a monster really looks like. Very much appreciated here at Black Tea Uncut. So guys, I'll be back with my next, I'm not going to say expose, but with my next review. Give me some ideas, some thoughts that you would like for me to commentate on, to speak on. Because I hear there's going to be a Kim Porter documentary coming next. I tell you like this, I am so here for it. Not to hurt the kids or anything like that, but just to expose. If there's something to expose, then let it be exposed. So I'm going to sign off here right now. and let you know that I love you, Uncut Nation. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. I love, love, love you. And again, thank you for watching me here at Black T Uncut. Love you guys. Talk to you very soon.